everyone. If you're new here, my name is Crystal, also known as the Book Gypsy, and today I'm going to be doing a book haul, which I've never done on my channel before, but I have a ridiculous amount of books that I have to get rid of that I just never really read, or I've read and will never revisit again. So I want to show you guys what I'm unhauling, and I'm going to be donating these books to local charity. Hopefully they find their new homes by doing this. I tend to donate my books. I don't really have a place near me, like thrift shops or anything, where I could sell the books that I'm unhauling, but I just feel better about donating them anyway. So let's just get into it. So in no particular order am I getting rid of these, but the first ones that are on top of this big stack that I got going on down here are the Black Dagger Brotherhood first 3 books. I tried so hard to get into this series and it's just not for me. I am not into smutty supernatural romances with men who are the saviors to the women. I'm just not into that. And I just found the main character very, very annoying. So I just won't ever revisit this. There's no reason for me to have it, and it's getting donated. I'm unhauling Little Monsters by Kara Thomas, and I'm also unhauling Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I actually really loved Children of Blood and Bone. I've never read Little Monsters, but I know I'm never gonna read this. It's been on my shelves since it came out. It's the hardback, so since it came out. And Children of Blood and Bone, I enjoyed it, but I'm never going to revisit it. And I just know that whoever gets their hands on this book next is absolutely going to love it. And maybe the story will change their lives like it changed mine. I just don't have room for it. It's collecting dust, and it's a hardback, which I don't love hardbacks. I tend to get rid of the hardbacks and then buy the paperback edition after. So yeah, so I'm unhauling this book. Next, I am unhauling The Sacrifice Box by Martin Stewart. Now, I actually really enjoyed this book. I read it in October around Halloween, and it was very reminiscent of like Stranger Things, a little bit of like Meddling Kids by Edgar Cantero, a little bit Stephen King-ish, but it was very young. I enjoyed it, but I'm just never going to revisit it, and I hope some young teenager gets their hands on this book and can read it, because it was really, really good. And if I was a teenager, this probably would have been my favorite book that I read all year, but it was very young. I'm really gonna revisit this book in the future, and it's a hardback, so it's just gonna collect dust. Next book that I'm unhauling, which I'm really kind of upset about, and I've held on to this book for quite some time, and I don't know why, because I never picked it up and read it, but that is Lincoln in the Bardo by George Saunders. I just never had a feeling to get into it, and I wanted to because I love stories about President Lincoln. You know, Abraham Lincoln is my favorite president. I love the history. I love what he did for the country. And I was just always curious about his life. So this definitely was a book that I wanted to read, but the way it's written is very, like, I don't know if you could see it. It's very like sporadic, and I really just couldn't get into it. It's about his son who passed away, and visiting the graveyard, and there's like a bunch of ghosts that are telling the story of Lincoln visiting his son in the cemetery. I really couldn't grasp it. I know it's a great book and it's won some awards. It's not piquing my interest anymore, unfortunately. So hopefully somebody will enjoy this book. The next book that I will be unhauling, which I wanted to get into the series of these books, and that is Wonder Woman by Leigh Bardugo, and that's Warbringer. I love Leigh Bardugo. She's one of my favorite authors, and I really wanted to read this, but I just know I'm not going to. I really enjoy superheroes and I enjoy the movies, but I just can't bring myself to read the books per se. And it's a gorgeous book too, so like I almost don't want to unhaul it, but it's just gonna sit and collect dust, and I know I'm never going to read it. But if you have read it and you think I'm gonna love it, please let me know down below. Maybe I will still keep it. I'll see. You know, one out of the bunch over here that I keep. We'll see what happens. But I'm definitely still like on the fence about unhauling it because it is by one of my favorite authors, but I don't know, we'll see. Next up, I'm unhauling Toil and Trouble, 15 Tales of Women and Witchcraft. And this is edited by Jessica Spotswood and Tess Sharp. This was like one of my biggest letdowns this year, and I don't want to unhaul it because I absolutely love the cover. Whoops. The stories were just not what I wanted it to be. They were not as fantastical as I thought they would be, or just like the typical witches and witchcraft stories. It was definitely more feminist stories, which were nice, but it's just not what I was looking for, and I don't think I'm ever going to revisit it, so I will be unhauling it. Next book I'm unhauling is 9 by Zach Hines. I received this in a Bookie Box subscription. Never heard of this book before. I looked up some of like the reviews for it on Goodreads, and it has some good reviews. I'm just not interested in this type of story, and I really just have no interest in picking it up, so I think unhauling it is probably the best decision I've made for this book. Next up I have here, which is a recent buy for me, but I just don't think I'm gonna ever read it, and that is Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. This also is another book that if you feel I'm going to enjoy it, I will keep it. You have to let me know. But I just don't see myself reading it, and I've heard not so great things about the story. And I'm just not really that into young adult fantasy at the moment. I just picked up a whole bunch of adult fantasy books and their series and their big ones that I would like to get into, so I just don't see this fitting into the mix of my TBRs in the future. But if you enjoyed this book, please let me know. Maybe I'll keep it. Next, The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. I've heard amazing things about this series, and I've had this book for quite some time. I just don't think I'm going to get to it at the moment. It's a really beautiful hardback too. I got from Book Outlet, and this is like one of the best editions of any book that I've ever got from them. It's like not damaged at all. But I don't see myself reading it. This is another one. If you feel that I will enjoy this, please let me know. Maybe I will pick it up. I've heard things that it's kind of like borderline YA, an adult fantasy, but if it's heavy on the romance spectrum, I'm probably not going to want to read it. But if you have read this, and this is the first book in a series, I think the second book had just recently come out, or the third book just recently came out. If you are enjoying this, please let me know if I should keep it, because this is another one that I'm kind of like, should I get rid of it? Should I not? It's such a beautiful book, and I feel like it'll look great on a bookshelf in my house when I buy one, so we'll see what happens. But as of right now, I don't see myself reading this book, and I almost feel like I might be a little sorry for unhauling it, but we shall see. Next, I am unhauling All the Birds in the Sky by Charlie Jane Anders. I just have no use for this. It's been sitting on my shelves for a very long time, and I just don't see myself reading it. So I would like to unhaul it. It is collecting dust, and I really don't know what it's about. I don't know why I purchased it. I might have seen it on someone's book haul once or something, but I haven't really heard much about it. I know this does have great reviews on Goodreads. It's just not something that I want to read at the moment or in the near future. Next up is Slade House by David Mitchell. Ooh, this is white, this cover. Can't even see it. My camera won't even focus it. I'm just never going to read this. So that's your answer for why I'm unhauling it. And then these next two books that I have here I'm unhauling because I have doubles of them. And that is Practical Magic and The Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman. I actually have doubles of these. I recently bought the new paperback editions because they're really rubbery and I love the feel of them, and they're more compact than the hardback from Book of the Month. So I'm just unhauling them because I have doubles of them, and there's no reason for me to keep doubles of books. But these two books are some of the favorite books that I've read. I really love Practical Magic, the movie, the book, even though the movie and the book do not correlate much with each other, but I just really love the message behind Practical Magic, and the sisters, Sally and Jillian, remind me of me and my sister, and it's been that way like our whole lives. Me and my sister have watched Practical Magic since we were kids, so I really love these books, and I can't wait for someone else to enjoy them as well. The next book that I'm unhauling is a recent purchase, and that is Snow in Love, which is a compilation of short stories around Christmas time, and I just wasn't feeling it, and I see no reason for me to keep it, so I will get rid of it, and someone will enjoy it. I'm sure they will enjoy it, but there is just no reason for me to keep this on my shelves. Next is Tempest and Slaughter by Tamora Pierce. I've never read anything by Tamora Pierce, and I don't see myself reading anything by her in the near future. I just feel like I'm late in the game to her writing, and I just have no interest in it. The cover is stunning, and that is probably the reason why I held on to it for so long, but I'm just never going to read it. And I know Reagan at Peruse Project really loved this story and loves Tamora Pierce's books. I just don't see myself really liking them. So, the next book I'm unhauling is The Supernaturals by David L. Goldman, and I said to myself, if I didn't read this by Halloween or around Halloween time, I'm going to unhaul it, and I never got to it, so I am unhauling it. I do have this on ebook, so there's really no reason for me to keep the hardback edition. It's just collecting dust, and I'm going to get rid of it. This book always seemed like something that I would enjoy, especially since the cover is like, sorry for my ring light, it's like really obnoxious. The cover has a Victorian home on it with a ghost on the cover. It is probably one of the coolest covers I've ever seen. But I just don't think I'm going to be reading it at the moment. So I want to unhaul it. It's collecting dust and I don't need it. I need to unclutter my life. And the next three books that I have here that I am unhauling are the Ever Found series or Ever Lost series by Neal Shusterman. I love Neal Shusterman. I love his writing. I love Scythe and I love Thunderhead. I just don't think I'm ever going to get into this series. And if I want to ever get into it, I'll just rent it from my library or something. I'm just not into this right now. It's not where I want to read at the moment, and I don't want to read it in the future, or at least in the future that I think right now. So I am unhauling these books. I got them for a really good price on Book Outlet, so I'm not really that upset about getting rid of them. I don't feel bad about getting rid of them. So someone else will enjoy them, I'm sure. That is it. That is all I have for my unhaul. Those are all the books that I'm unhauling, donating to local charity, and I hope someone enjoys them because a lot of them I never got to, and I don't think I'm ever gonna get to them anyway. So therefore, it's time to get rid of them, clean out the shelves. It is a new year, and my New Year's resolution to myself is to declutter my life and get rid of things that I don't need. So this is a start for me, and I am very excited to be getting rid of them. It's actually like, it feels good to get rid of some books so I could add some more to my collection. That's usually just how it goes. So yeah, so that is it. That is all I have for you today. And if you think I should keep any of these books, please let me know down below. And on that note, I will be talking to all of you guys soon. Bye!